Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sebastian, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We'll cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today, we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. My handle is CTABANZ. So let's get into this topic here. So in a few months from now, we're going to finally see the ESPN crew, the Inside the NBA crew migrate over to ESPN. With Charles Barkley and these guys joining the network. And we've done some shows about it where people have expressed some concerns. I think Kenny Smith said so, Shaq said so, even Charles. But now we're getting some more news that Charles Barkley is still having some concerns about this partnership that's coming down the pipeline. So I got this headline here, or this news rather, from Awful Announcement with the following headline stating this: Charles Barkley concerned ESPN time constraints will impact Inside the NBA. And I'm like, wait a minute. So Chuck is still having concerns of whether or not he feels like this thing could be real. So this is the report that we want to get into. But before we even get into Charles' comments, today's video is brought to you by sponsor Game Time. One of the things I love the most is making unforgettable memories with family and friends. And one of the things I hate the most is overpaying for tickets only to find out that there was a better deal out there. That's one of the reasons I started using Game Time. Game Time is the easy go-to app for last-minute tickets to sports, concert, and theater events across 60+ states in the US and Canada. Game Time saves me time, money, and stress by curating only the best deals, so I'm not wasting a whole bunch of time scrolling through overpriced tickets. Game Time Picks is my favorite tool. It highlights the best value seats instantly. No more guesswork, no more wasting time. For example, I'm really looking forward to watching some of these NBA Summer League games. Here's what I like to do. I choose between the cheapest deal, the great deal, or the amazing deal. Once you select the ticket you want, you can use their panoramic seat view to ensure you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue on with this report. It says, ever since the deal was first announced last fall, much has been made about what Inside the NBA will look like when it airs on ESPN via licensing agreement with TNT Sports next season. But while the bulk of that focus has been placed on how the worldwide leader might negatively affect the show from a content perspective, Charles Barkley has his own concerns about the logistics of the ESPN schedule. After all, the most popular portion of Inside the NBA comes during postgame, in which the show can often linger into the early hours of the morning. And before being concerned about what subjects or talent ESPN might foist upon the program, its biggest star wants to know whether it will be given the airtime it needs to replicate that formula. We have questions, Barkley admitted during an interview with Barstool Sports. Like normally, the number one time on our show is after the game. You get like 45 minutes to shoot the, you know what, that's the magic. But me and Ernie have talked about it. Like, are we going to get to do that? Are they going to say we got to go to Sports Center? First of all, it's an honor to work for ESPN because they're the biggest sports network in the history of television. But like when we have those 45 minutes and it's like no one is like, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and we can just go crazy and it gets weird. But are they going to say, no, guys, y'all got 15 minutes. We got to go to Sports Center. Then continues on. Co-host Dan Big Cat Katz expressed skepticism that ESPN would mess with the success, noting how closely viewers and critics will be watching to make sure the network doesn't ruin the beloved studio show. Yet, despite being happy that the show will continue after TNT lost its NBA media rights, the Hall of Fame power forward appears to be preparing for the worst. Everybody can say right now, yeah, we're going to leave everything the same, Barkley said. But if the game ends, it's Sports Center going to say, y'all got 45 minutes to shoot the bleep, or we need to go to Sports Center in 15 to 20 minutes. It's going to be a learning curve. The concerns of Charles Barkley are valid, perhaps more than the worries that ESPN will try to tinker with Inside the NBA for a content standpoint. It is, however, worth noting that the network will also launch its direct-to-consumer streaming service this fall, giving a newfound flexibility for its programming schedule. To Barkley's point, there will be certainly a learning curve early on, and it would hardly be a surprise to see how the show and Disney-owned channel go through an initial period of trial and error. And then the article says a few things to close out there. What are my thoughts about this? I think they're going to screw it up. And I think it's going to be chaotic. Especially if they try to bring in some people that work at ESPN. ESPN, they twerk it up too much over there, man. Those guys are chronic honey slingers, man. They be twerking it up, hollering and screaming. And if you know anything about Charles Barkley, he's a straight shooter. And one of the things he has criticized people in the media, including ESPN, is this obsessive coverage with the Lakers. And beyond just the coverage of the Lakers is how they like to dangle the carrot to their audience and give them false hope and say crazy things. The Lakers will win 2 games in a row. Man, you know the Lakers look like they can win the chance. Like they just go overboard with it. So having a guy like Charles Barkley on that network will be a disaster. Because if you ever invited him on one of those shows where they sit up there and honey sling all day long, he's going to be like, you guys are absolutely insane. You guys are absolutely positively insane. And the crazy part is you guys want me to go along with your insanity, and I just refuse not to. If the Lakers don't look good as a team, he's going to say it. Can you imagine a studio session with a room full of twerking honey slingers, and then you invite Charles Barkley in there to give you a take on what's going on? And he's the one guy that says, man, y'all are just a bunch of fools up here. How do you think that's going to play out? Honestly, how do you think it's going to play? Charles, if you look at Charles and the inside the NBA crew and these guys, they have a different energy to them in the sense that certain group of people don't click with other groups of people. We all know this. All of us have friends and groups that we hang out with. You guys have a certain, your group or whatever has a certain energy to y'all. And y'all may not necessarily rock with the next group. That's how it is. Some people, as they say, birds of the same feathers flock together. Well, Charles Barkley and his birds don't flock with the same birds that we see on ESPN. They don't have honey on their wings. They don't. They twerk over there on a full-time basis. So Charles and these guys are not going to do that. Charles and those guys speak with more candor. They're going to have more real conversations. So if you invite these guys on their shows, how's it going to work? And then number 2, what does it do with the messaging? When you have 4 shows that twerk it up all day long, and then you have these guys that are like, yeah, everything those guys just said is all stupid. How's all that going to work from a messaging standpoint? How's it going to work? So to me, man, I don't know. I don't think it's going to work, man. I think they're going to find a way to screw it up. I think they're going to find a way. The only way for it to work is if they let those guys be their natural selves. And if they're going to do that and mess around with that and try to tamper with it and say, oh, no, you can't do this, you can't say that, you have to be this, it's not going to work. So I am skeptical about the whole thing. It'll be nice to see if it works. It'll be nice, but no, I'm not so confident that it will. So you guys let me know what you think about this. The simple question is, do you think this will work? This partnership between Inside the NBA and ESPN. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We'll catch you on the next show. Peace.